Oh no, we've been flanked. There's a scout moving in. Bringy's trying to help in his light tank. 430 coming in. E50M moving in, and I'm playing arty. Okay, not good. Need to get to safety. But I'm being hunted down by a T-71, and gotta cross the gap, gotta run away, gotta use my 60 kilometers an hour top speed. Batchat's coming back to help. Made it across the gap, but I got spotted. Okay, I don't think it's safe. Maybe we can turn around and... Okay, alright. T-71 moving in. I've got to help the Batchat. He's only got a one clip and then he's dead, so we're going to shotgun this guy, and we miss. Okay, alright. T-71 puts a shot in. Okay. Right, E50... No, he's ignoring me. Okay, gotta run away. T-71 is sensing blood. Maybe he's coming in. Is he still he's still advancing? Oh. Yeah, okay, that's completely worth it. Completely worth it. I just gave him a kamikaze medal, but it's still worth it. Yeah, the mobility of this tank, as I say, is one of the reasons it's a little bit more fun to play than other arty, but yeah, let's get on with today's video. Hi folks, and welcome to the Ace Tanker for the Sturmpanzer 2 Bison. Yeah, this is another tank that was actually called the Bison, but not called the Bison in-game. But it's not surprising, because the Bison was a complete and utter disaster, as I covered during that Ace Tanker. And just like that Ace Tanker, it was played on an evening where I decided to get all the low-tier German arty that I previously hadn't aced or hadn't played before out of the way, and I was platooned with Dreadshells. There he is in his looks. Hello, Dread. So Dread was very, very kind. He decided to platoon and help me pick up all the low-tier arty aces, and we managed to do that. You know, we got the tier 2 out of the way, which I can't remember the name of, but it was based on a British tank. We got the Bison out of the way, and we got the Vespa out of the way, and then it was time to move to the tier 4s, and there were 2 tier 4 arties, and I'm going to bring both replays to you today, because, as I say, I only spent one evening in those tanks and managed to ace them all, and they're out of the way, and they're all sold, and I never have to play them again. But it's time for the Sturmpanzer 2. So this is basically a follow-up to the Bison. This was also called, as I say, the Bison, and what they did this time is they removed the wheels from the French artillery, the SIG 33, and they mounted it directly in the chassis of a Panzer II. So once again, this was done by Alket, who were involved in a lot of the German artillery designs at the beginning of World War II. So this was an attempt again to take the French, or the captured French infantry gun, the SIG 33, and stick it in a tank and make it more mobile so that it could keep up with other tanks and be involved in the Blitzkrieg. So what they did was, not the Blitzkrieg, was it the Blitzkrieg? I have no idea, my mind is gone, I'm still not 100%, but basically this time, rather than mounting the gun directly on the chassis of a Panzer I and calling it the Bison, what they did was they mounted it in the chassis, not on it, but in the chassis of a Panzer II. And the first prototype was a complete and utter disaster, because it meant that there was absolutely no room for the crew and no room for the gun. In fact, the gun's recoil was so bad it hit the back of the tank and basically caused all sorts of problems. So what they ended up having to do, or Alket ended up having to do, was they took the Panzer II and they had to widen it. They made it wider so that there was actually room for the crew to sit in it. There was a crew of 4. And then they had to make it longer to make up for the recoil of the gun, and they added an extra road wheel. Maybe I should get rid of the overview. So basically it's a Panzer II chassis, but it's been widened and it's been lengthened, and they've added an extra road wheel. But basically, in-game, it's pretty much the same tank as the Bison, because it comes with exactly the same gun as the tier 3, and that means that even though it comes with the same gun as the tier 3, it has the same ammo. So once again, you get the standard ammo, which is HE with 75mm of penetration, 350 damage, which is quite good, but the The other standard HE, they're both standard HE, is 75 millimeters of penetration with 450 damage, and the only difference is 80 credits. So these shots are 80 credits more to do 100 extra damage. So once again, just like the Bison in the first ace tanker I brought to you in that tank, there is absolutely no point in firing the standard HE when you can load the second type of standard HE, as long as you're willing to spend 80 extra credits a shot. The premium ammo is heat with 185 millimeters of penetration, which is incredibly good, and 300 damage. So yeah, the tank, it was built and you know, it performed a little bit better. The widening of the chassis and the lengthening of the chassis meant that the gun or the tank didn't tear itself apart when it was firing its gun, but it was still a disaster because the gun was too heavy. And one thing they fixed on this tank that they didn't fix on the Bison was the Bison couldn't carry any ammunition. So even though it was mounted on a tank and, you know, in order the artillery to keep up with the German tanks or German advance, it still had to wait for its ammo to be brought to it. So this tank fixed that problem by adding ammo storage in the tank, and it could carry 30 rounds. So unlike the Bison, this gets the same gun, but it gets lots of ammo, whereas the Bison gets very, very little ammo. So this thing comes with 30 rounds, which is historically accurate. But as I say, the problem is the gun was far too heavy, and the ammunition with 30 rounds was far too heavy, and it meant that it had huge reliability issues. It kept on breaking down. And as a result, only 12 of them were ever built in 1941. They were shipped to North Africa and were used in the North African campaign by the Germans. But the tank was just, or the artillery was just so unreliable that some sources are saying that basically only about 6 of the 12 that were ever built were used in combat. The other 6 weren't used in combat. The other 6 were used as basically spare parts. So the first 6 that were being used in combat broke down so frequently that the other 6 had to be cannibalized in order to provide spare parts to keep the 6 in, or the original 6 in action. So basically, by the end of the North African campaign, all 12 were either cannibalized or destroyed. None survived World War II. But yeah, so not a very successful tank, and as I say, only 12 were ever built. But regardless, we get to play it in-game, and it's called the Bison, even though in-game it's not called the Bison. But we're going to go, as I say, I'm platooned with Dreadshells. We are here on Murovanka. It is Murovanka, and it's a Tier 7 game, so Dread is finally happy. He doesn't have to play the Locust anymore. He was playing the Locust in the Tier 3 games with me. Now he's managed to get into a Lux, which is one of the tanks he really enjoys. Now, because it's the same gun as the Bison, it suffers the same problems as the Bison regarding its gun, in that it's got very high shell trajectory, but it's got very short shell range. You need to actually move your arty very close to the enemy in order to be able to hit them, and the camo rating on this tank isn't very good, and as you can see, the speed and mobility of this tank aren't very good. Now, I was originally planning to move down into the usual arty positions, but very quickly it's going to become apparent to me that I'm not going to be able to hit the tanks that are appearing on the 1-2 lines because I just don't have the range with the gun. So we're swinging around. You can see that the traverse speed is not very good. So yeah, while the gun, it's, you know, it's okay in some ways. As I say, high shell trajectory, which means you can hit tanks that are behind objects, like this one. No problems with a shot in the Skoda T40, even though he's behind a ridge. So high shell trajectory is nice, but the range isn't good, the aim time is not good, the accuracy not particularly good, but the splash damage is very good for its tier, the penetration very good for its tier, the alpha damage very good for its tier. So when it hits, if it hits incredibly hard. So there we go. While Dread is spotting over on the 8-9 lines, I'm going to work. Don't need Dread, don't need you, dude. I'm doing fine over here all by myself. And then, of course, this guy is a one-hit kill, but he's out of range. So, yeah, you know, I was only playing a couple of games in these tanks because, as I say, I was acing them rather quickly with Dread's help. But, you know, this guy's reversing, and he's constantly out of my range. So we've had to advance out into the open to try and get my gun within range, and then a Crusader appears, and you know, the danger with this tank is getting spotted when you do advance to try and get shots, and Okay, they can deal with the Crusader. I'll go back to the Panzer SFL 4C. And look at the aim time. Aim time just so bad, just like it is on the Bison. But we can hit lightly armored targets because we got lots of pen and lots of alpha. So, you know, the gun is terrible in some situations, but it's actually quite good in others. So, very, very quiet over here on the 1-2 lines, and I decide to advance just, you know, just in case there are tanks hanging further back. I can see that the STRV and KV2 are taking hits. So I know that there's someone further up on the 1-2 lines, and then all of a sudden our KV2 goes down, so Tier 4, Tier 7 game, we're bottom tier, but that's not bad, because this is a gun that can actually hurt Tier 7s, it can hurt Tier 6s. Now, Dread is moving back to get eyes on the 1-2 lines, because he realizes that there are tanks over here and we're being outspotted. I decide to go for a blind shot, and that shot doesn't go pretty much anywhere near where I was aiming, but I wasn't fully aimed, but Dread is going to try and get me some spots. There's the T-25 too. Now there's something that's going to happen in this game that is incredibly surprising, and Bringy, oh, that was really unlucky. Even though this tank has great splash damage for its tier, we don't manage to splash the T-28 for any damage whatsoever. But yeah, something's going to happen in this game, and you know, it was very, very surprising because, oh, that one aimed nowhere near where I aimed, but it made me a little misty-eyed. You know, it made me a little bit misty-eyed as to what is about to happen. So, Dread takes out the T-25 too. There's an E-25 that's appeared, Tier 7 tank. If I can hit this guy, I can actually do major damage. He's advancing, he's being rather aggressive. And you can see that the gun arc is not good, and every time I have to move the hull to keep this guy within my gun arc, unfortunately I've got to go through the aim time again, but E-25 has had enough of Dread and he's moving in to try and take him out. I'm trying to help Dread. About there. And yes, we managed to hit, but we don't manage to track, but it does mean that Dread has the opportunity to do a little bit of damage to the E-25, and now an OI experimental has appeared, and I haven't seen him on the minimap because I'm trying to help Dread. Go for a blind shot, quick. No, missed. But, okay, Jagdpanzer 4, STRV, M42, and an OI experimental. This is not good. This is not good. Lots of tanks suddenly appearing on the... Oh no! I've been spotted. We do a little bit of damage to the Jagdpanzer 4, but OI experimental hits my tracks, thankfully. I've only got 190 hit points, and the experimental hits my tracks for 0 damage, and then he hits me again. 0 damage on the tracks. Incredibly lucky. That now, watch this. Watch this, Bringy. Watch this, Beyond. Watch this, Tonza. Look at that. I was saying to Dread, I'm dead. And he says, no, you're not. No, you're not. And he drives in front of me and takes the hit. He takes the hit. He saves Arty. What a hero. What an absolute hero. What a champion. What a gentleman. I have never, ever in all my years of playing World of Tanks had a platoon mate willing to take a hit for me. So there you go. Dread, you're welcome to be my wingman anytime. Getting a little bit Top Gun here, but alright, so we go back to work. Dread saved me. I'm still on full health, but Dread is on low health. Dread needs to be very, very careful. He's on low health now, so he's just going to be spotting, and I'm going to try and hit what he spots. So he's gone really into a passive mode now. But I've managed to reverse into cover. And, okay, nothing on the OI. Jagdpanzer 4. Kind of a difficult shot. I do have shots. He's on 325 health. He's moved back. I've got to loop it around the building. And we managed to do 165 splash damage and hit the building. So, as I say, this arty, incredibly good splash damage. And it's got a better rate of fire than it does when it's on the Bison. So, same gun, but better rate of fire. So, you still got the penetration, good alpha, and better reload. So it's not terrible, but I think I only played 1 game, maybe 2 games in this tank before finishing, and no, he moved as I fired. So we're on 2 kills, we're up to 1200 damage as a tier 4 in a tier 7 game, and we're just trying to get a little bit more out of this. So just waiting for Dread's spots. He's constantly on the move, trying to find tanks. T-34. And he stops! Oh, this is annoying. He stops as the shot was in the air. So yeah, shell velocity takes a while for the shot to reach the target. You've really got to predict. And even tanks moving a couple of meters will put your shots off. So, and he stops as well. Doesn't matter, shot goes absolutely nowhere near where I aim. So this is more like the accuracy performance of this gun. So we've still got an STRV M42 and a Lux, Dreadshells in the Lux, trying to spot on the 1-2 lines. Enemy team don't look as if they're willing to advance, but spoke too soon because the T-34 decides to come up. He gets taken out by the STRV, but I think that gets the STRV spotted. We'll see. Dread is still trying to spot. We've got a KV-3 over in the forest, just 2 arty and an enemy STRV left. Yeah, STRV was spotted. He gets taken out by arty. So just the STRV M42 on the enemy team capping and 2 arty. I don't have shots, even though I've got really, really good shell velocity. But, you know, our GW Panther should have shots from where he is. So, Dread is again gone on the hunt. 2 enemy arty. STRV is going to take him 3 minutes to cap. So, Dread is relocating to try and spot the STRV and then maybe get into a position to go hunting for enemy arty. I'm quite happy with the damage so far. So, don't know what else I'm going to be able to contribute to this game, but Dread is moving in to try and get eyes on the STRV. Panther's saying spot cap, but that's exactly what Dread is planning to do. He's just coming in from a direction he's unexpected because he only has about 12 hit points because he took a hit for me. You hear me, Bringy? He took a hit for me. Oh, an enemy arty is in the cap as well, so we fire. And we manage to not kill him, but set him on fire, and we take out the SU-122A. Which is nice. And then that's a tier 4 arty killing a tier 5, so lots of XP. And then our GW Panther takes out the STRV, so just 1 tank left on the enemy team, the M12. And Dread is going hunting. The KV-3 is up there. Well, KV-3 is terrible view range, so he might not spot arty. But once again, I'm moving up to try and get my arty in a position where I've got the range of fire to be maybe be able to hit the M12 if he's spotted. You can see me testing here. I've got shots all along the red line, and I sincerely doubt the M12 is still where where he was last spotted because KV-3 hasn't spotted him. But as I say, the KV-3's view range is absolutely awful, and he probably has a very poor crew. So I'm pre-aimed over here, looking at places where the M12 is likely to be, and just trying to keep my tank within range. So KV-3 still hasn't spotted the M12. So M12 must have moved. I'm making sure I've got shots over here. Even Dread is going, how is the M12 not... Oh, and he was there the entire time. He was there. I'm just within range, but the KV-3 takes him out. So, yeah, there we go. The Sturmpanzer 2 Bison. So yeah, ace tanker in the Sturmpanzer 2, and I forgot to mention we were fail platoon because Mr. Dreadshells, because he was playing the Lux, managed to get my tier 4 arty into a tier 7 game, but it didn't matter because Dread finished top on XP because that's just how good he is. I finished second on XP, enough to ace the tank with 14-16 damage, 3 kills, and 866 XP. So I reckon that was quite a comfortable ace in this tank because it's very, very situational. As I say, the gun, a lot of things about the gun are great, and a lot of things about the gun are bad, and the tank itself is not particularly good either, but happy with the result. Finished with 16 shots fired. We only managed to hit 4. However, we did manage to splash 5 tanks, so and we splashed them for significant amounts of damage, so that's what the gun is good at. It's got very, very good splash radius, very good penetration, very good alpha for its tier, and considering it's the same gun as at tier 3, it just shows you how dangerous the gun on the Bison is, but it's just that little bit better on the Sturmpanzer 2 Bison at tier 4. So we destroyed 6, or damaged 6, destroyed 3, managed to do 8 base defense points, and because I was running a premium consumable, I ended up earning 3,500 credits with a premium account, so it would have been a loss with a standard account, but wasn't my first game of the day, so yeah, I was quite happy, and once again, thank you to Dreadshells for helping me pick up these German low-tier ace tankers all in one evening. It meant I only had to go through one evening of pain instead of having to spread it out over a week or two, so thank you, Dread, and Dread and myself are going to be coming up in the very next video, because after the Sturmpanzer 2, we moved on to another low-tier German arty that I hadn't played before. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.